Hi, and welcome to the 8th video in our PowerShell and Elasticsearch tutorial series. In the last couple videos, we've seen how to effectively search our Elasticsearch index, and today we are going to actually be using those searches to be able to delete from our index. So maybe you've run a script to insert a bunch of items, maybe the script didn't work at 100%, and you need to delete some of those items. Maybe you're just going in to clean your index because you're starting to run out of space on your Elasticsearch server. There could be a bunch of different reasons, or maybe you just want to purge out some of the old data. We will show you how to do that today. So there are two ways to actually delete items from your Elasticsearch. We're going to be covering both of those today because they're both pretty similar. And definitely there's one that probably you're going to use more often than not, but the other one might be handy as well. So the first one we're going to cover is the one that you might not use all the time, but it could definitely be pretty handy if you have something maybe a little bit more specific that you want to delete, where you don't want to delete the entire query. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the search to search for our items that we want to delete, and then we're going to be deleting based on the ID that we pull back. And then the second search method, or delete method, I should say, just uses the exact same search query that we use, and actually it deletes all the items from that search. One thing to note before we actually start with these deletes, it will delete your entire search. So even if you don't specify a size, it will actually delete all the items that match that query, whereas the search only returns the default of 10 unless you specify a size. The delete will actually delete anything that actually matches that query. So let's actually go ahead and let's get started here. So we have our default that we always have to connect to our instance up here. And let's get started by creating our body for our search here of the items we want to delete. So we're going to create a literal string here, and we are going to do a pair of curly brackets to begin our JSON for our query. So what we're going to actually pull back here is I want to pull back all the items that have a type of error. This is just no real reason behind it. I just want to delete the items that have errors, and then the query afterwards, we're going to actually delete the ones that have the OK status. So let's first go ahead and type in query here in double quotes, and then a colon, and then we're going to reopen and close a curly bracket. And we are doing a Boolean query here. So we're just going to put bool in double quotes and then colon, then open and close curly brackets. And we're going to say it must, and we're going to say it must match. And we want to match on the property of type, and we want it to match on error here. And that should be good. And what we actually want to do as well is we're going to want to specify a size just because we want to see this one, because we're actually going to be deleting it based on our search here. So we're going to do size 1000 just to get all the items back. And we are going to do a sort on the timestamp. And that should be good. And then we're going to do a response here. And our response is going to be equal to invoke rest method. And our URI is going to be the URI base backslash logs backslash underscore search. And we just want our results to be pretty. So we're going to put question mark pretty. And this is going to be a post method. And we're going to send over our headers. We are going to send over our body. And we are going to skip the certificate check. So let's actually just go ahead and let's see what this equals out to. So if we do a response .hits, we will actually see our results here. So if we run this, let's actually see here. We have an error. Oh, and that's because I did not put double quotes around my must, I believe. And still has an error here, and that's because I did not put double quotes in front around timestamp. And must not start with invalid. Oh, and I did underscore in the URI, which actually should have just been logs. So a lot of mistakes here that you guys can possibly make. I make some of these all the time, so I definitely want to keep them in the video so you guys can actually see that it's definitely quite normal to make mistakes, and makes practicing even better, because if you do forget some of these double quotes, you might kind of search for these a long time. So you always want to make sure that all your text is usually wrapped around in double quotes, and that will always work better. Your numbers, you don't have to wrap in double quotes, so that's fine, but always make sure that it is case sensitive on Elasticsearch, so you're always going to make sure that everything matches the case that is actually in your mapping, and also make sure that you always wrap them in double quotes. So we actually did get our results back. Now, as you can see, these are probably different than the way we used to look at them, because we used to do an underscore source to actually look at the item that was put in there, which here we have what we would typically look at. But the reason why I only want to look at .hits is because this is actually where I get my underscore ID. And when we actually want to delete out of our index, we want to specify the actual ID. So there's actually a couple things that we can actually do here. So we have all of our things here, which if we do a count on that here, we have a count of 6. So there are a few different things that we can do. The first option, which we're going to do, is we're going to delete just one of them. And then we're going to do another request. We're going to see that it got deleted. We're going to see that we only get 5 back. And then we're going to do a for each loop and delete the rest. So what we actually want to do is just do a ID, or let's do record to delete. It's going to be equal response.hits.hits. And what we want to do is we want to pipe that to select first one. So what this is going to do is it's going to select us just one record, and that is going to be the record that we want to delete. So let's actually go ahead and let's put that in here. And let's do that. So in our record to delete here, we now have just this singular record that we want to remove. So now to delete this record, we will do a $response is equal to invoke-restmethod URI. We're going to do a set of double quotes here. We're going to do a URI base slash logs slash underscore doc slash, then we're going to do our ID here, which is going to be record to delete dot underscore ID. And then we're going to do pretty to return the pretty result for our JSON here. And we are going to put this as a method of delete. And then we are going to put in our headers here. And we are going to skip certificate check. And we're going to see what that response is equal. So let's actually go ahead and let's run this. We get no errors back. And if we look at the response here, we will actually see that we get deleted. It tells us the ID that we deleted, and it says that it was successful on 1 and failed 0, which is perfect. So we've actually deleted this item in our index. So now if we actually do this whole search again here, so let me just copy this part. We're just going to put it underneath here. And if we run this now, once again, So we rerun our query. And if we look at the response.hits.hits.count here, you'll see that we only get 5. So we actually have deleted one. We were at 6 before, and now we are only at 1. Now let's say you wanted to do a for each loop and you wanted to delete all of these. We're going to see why, if you're just going to do a for each loop, you don't really have to do it this way at all. But I want to give you guys all the different methods that you guys have an option to do. So let's do a variable here of IDs to delete is going to be equal to response.hits.hits. And then we're going to do a for each. And we're going to say, oh, actually, I don't want to do IDs to delete. I want to put records to delete. And then we're going to say for each record in records to delete. Let's just see what our IDs are. So if we actually do this, so these are the 5 IDs that we want to delete. All we need to do is actually take this item here, and we are just going to paste this into our for each loop. So we have our response equals the invoke-rest method. Instead of record to delete underscore ID, we're just going to put record._ID, and we are going to be deleting it, and then we're just going to be printing off the response. So if we actually run this entire code here now, we will see that it deleted all of them in order, and we actually have the successful for each one. But we don't actually know how many we really deleted. Well, we would have to scroll through all these, which doesn't make it super useful, but it is an option that you can do. You can delete them one at a time, as long as you search them through the search, and then you can use the delete record through PowerShell with a for each loop, and you can delete all of them that way. Now, ElasticSearch actually gives you an easier method to delete a bunch of them, and that is to actually use your search query as the delete query. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to be doing a slightly different query here. So we're going to be copying our query once again, and we're just going to be moving it to the bottom. And we are going to match on the type. Actually, let's match on application name is bulk. I believe that should give us some items here. And what we're going to do is we are actually going to remove the size here. And let's actually execute this query. All right, so once we actually have that here, let's look in our response. We just want to see what it comes out with. So we have hits. So if we actually just look at .hits here. And if I go .hits again, maybe there is no bulk ones in here. There might not be any bulk ones, to be completely honest. Oh, actually, application name. I typed that in wrong. All right, so here are all the applications name with bulk in the name here. So we have tons of logs here. If we look at the amount of hits we have, though, it is only 10 because we didn't specify a size. But if we look at just the response.hits, we will actually see our value is 59. So we have 59 records, and we can actually confirm that just once more here. If we do a size 1000, and we do .hits.count, oops, I forgot to add a comma in here when I re-put the size. So we have 59. And as you can see, I had to put a size to pull that back, but I'm actually going to be removing the size again. And we are going to be removing this. So what we are actually going to do to delete based on your query, so we're going to be deleting all these 59 records. What we're going to do is we're going to do an invoke rest method on the URI base /logs. And after the /logs, it's going to be a /_ delete _by_ query. And the method is going to be a post. And it's going to be a headers and then body. So that is very, very important to keep in mind that this is a post and not a delete. So that is very important. It is very different from the other one. And let's go ahead and let's run this. So once again, we are matching on everything that has the application name of bulk in it. And we aren't specifying a size. So typically we would be used to seeing it only pull back 10 items, but we will actually see that this will actually delete all of them. So let's actually go ahead and let's run this here. And no errors. So let's actually go ahead and let's see what our response gave us here. So let's do a response. And here it is. So it took 57 milliseconds. Total is 59. It deleted 59. So, and as you can see, we have no size. So that actually worked out really, really good. It did what it was supposed to do. And now if we actually go ahead and we do another search here. So let's do a search here. And let's do on application name bulk. And let's do a response dot hits. Now this will come back as 0. So we have a value of 0 on our hits. And if we do dot hits dot count, we will get 0 as well. So we did not get any applications or any logs with the bulk application name. If we just do YouTube here, we should see a bunch of queries come back. So we have 59 left here, which if we actually look at them, they will all be just the YouTube service script without bulk, and all of those will still be there. So that is awesome. So those are the two different ways to delete. There is the delete by query, and then just the doc, and then you specify the ID that you want to delete. If you have the exact query of all the items you want to delete, which again, you can specify date ranges on that, so you can delete anything that is older than a certain timestamp, especially if you just want to clean out old data. That is extremely useful, and you could just do it with the query, and you'll know exactly how many items you've deleted from your index. So those are the two ways to delete. In the next video, we are going to see how we can actually update our items or our documents inside of our index. So be sure to stay tuned for that as well. If you guys have any comments or questions, please let me know in the comment section down below. I will do my best to answer you guys. And if it's something that could benefit a large amount of people, I will definitely be making a video on it. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out. And I will see you guys on the next video.